So welcome to part 6 of Big Blend Radio's Excellence in Tourism series on how to put the eye back into community through a responsible tourism plan that incorporates the 8 keys of excellence. Now you can see the full series from the very first one that really gave an overview of all 8 keys of excellence, all the way through what we're talking about today, the 5th key of excellence, which is commitment. Just go to nationalparktraveling.com. You've got interviews, videos, articles, and it's also featured in Parks and Travel magazine, with the newest article being featured in the January through March issue of Parks and Travel magazine. And so I was saying today's 5th key of excellence is commitment, and that's what we're going to talk about, how to make your community vision happen. And so when we talk about excellence, you know Bobbi DePorter is on the show. Bobbi is the queen of excellence. She is based in beautiful Oceanside, California. She is the co-founder of Super Camp, which is the world's leading summer academic achievement program for teens and preteens. She's also the president of Quantum Learning Network, and she also created the 8 Keys of Excellence. She's written numerous books on it, including The 8 Keys of Excellence, Principles to Live By, and her latest one is Excellence in Teaching and Learning, the Quantum Learning System. She co-authored that with Barbara K. Given. So everything, you can go to supercamp.com, you can go to qln.com, and also the 8 Keys, which is a free family program, free for families. There's also one for schools and educators. So if you go to 8keys.org, you can learn all about it. So it's the number 8. And Bobbi's going to tell us just how many millions of people she wants living these 8 keys of excellence. Bobbi, welcome back. How are you?
I'm doing great. Wonderful to be back.
Yeah, we're excited. I mean, commitment, this is the big one. This is the big one. I know. I'm going to go put my little bracelet thingy on, my little armband that says commitment, because that's like, okay, now you're going to wear it. I think I'll just wear that on the tour. So we just stick with it,
such
right?
an appropriate one for the tour.
It is. I know, and this is so interesting talking about the tour, because we started the tour, I remember, in April calling you up and like, Bobbi, we're doing this crazy thing. And you're like, well, that's cool. You need to take the 8 keys on the road with you. I'm like, okay, we'll do that. And we started the tour in your office. We're like, hey, we're going to be in Oceanside or San Diego. And then we're like, oh, well, there's a national park. And then we came to the show with you. And we were like talking about the different keys and the commitment key of excellence. And we stopped for a few years because we really had to. We had to redo websites, and we were doing the magazines. I mean, all these things changed. But we're going back on. So are we allowed to say that it's okay to take a break and make a change, and so long as you continue?
It's the flexibility key.
Yeah. Yes, it is. We like the flexibility.
Sometimes you just have to find a different way of doing what you're committed to do.
Yeah, I know. It's like, how many years has Super Camp been going now? 35?
We're going into our 38th year.
Wow. Wow.
And what's
and
so fun is we have so many
ahead.
parents that have gone to the program themselves, now sending their children. So I keep waiting. Okay, when's the 3rd generation going to happen?
Oh, cool.
I know. It's like,
That's cool.
Now listen, they have to go to college first, Bobbi. I know that's the whole part of Super Camp, but that's like 38 years. That's amazing. So, staying committed to Super Camp and the 8 Keys and Learning Forum International and Quantum Learning Network. So not only do you teach the teens and the preteens, but you're also teaching the teachers, right?
Yes, we are. We're working with school systems not only across the U.S., but internationally as well.
See, that's the other thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what other countries are you in? We might have to expand our tour.
I know. Just as we're sitting here, we have Super Camp starting this week in Singapore and Malaysia. We've been there for years, but we have staff over there now. And in Malaysia, there's a school system that is adopting the quantum learning system throughout their schools to be model schools. So we're in a lot. We're actually in 14 countries right now.
Wow. And Italy? You're in Italy too, right?
Awesome.
Is it Italy as
Yes.
well? I see them
We're in
all
most
the time
Asian countries, in Italy, and we're in Dominican Republic. We're in Australia.
Cool.
Wow. So the commitment, did you ever have to change your actual goal to be committed to Super Camp and to Quantum Learning Network and the 8 Keys? Did anything ever change to make you okay, as part of commitment?
I'm so much a believer in putting things in writing, and I still have a copy of my 2-page business plan that I wrote 38 years ago. And it felt like a pipe dream at that time to be international and to have books and making a difference, for so many students. And it came about. So, I think that, and we wrote our vision statement 37 years ago. And our vision statement is still driving us today. So I really am a big believer in being clear and really find what's in your gut that you're really passionate about, that's meaningful to you. And I hold that way with, your commitment to our national forests and our parks, what's going on with them. And when you hit that place of commitment, it's like it's your joy. You feel so strongly about it that it's a choice. And that's where you get into that place of I want to do whatever it takes to support in that direction.
It's really unbelievable how things fall in line when you have that. I just remember as a child, I was so into drawing dogs and cats because that's what was in front of me, and I wanted to be this artist. And then I started seeing things on television about Africa and all those other animals, and I was like, oh, I'm going to Africa. And my parents and everybody I knew said, you're crazy, you're nuts, you're never going to get to Africa. First of all, we didn't have any money, so it was like a pipe dream. But in my heart, I'm going to Africa. And I don't know really how that all happened, but I went to Africa. It was a big thing. It just fell into place. It was like another force.
It's when you say that you're going to. Bobbi, when you look at like the law of attraction, and I think a lot of people have it where I wish, I want, instead of I am. So doesn't the ownership key of excellence, isn't that a huge part of commitment becoming a reality? I was seeing that when we were walking today, this morning's walk, and I'm like, ownership, nothing happens without taking ownership of your goal.
Yeah, and it's the responsibility that you feel towards it. And we often talk about how the keys support each other. They really do intertwine in that taking ownership and responsibility is you're responsible for it. And then with, I think the word want, I'm liking that word want because, I go inside and I see, what am I passionate about? What do I want to have happen? If there's a community, how do I get crystal clear? I can envision what I want for that community, and I see it. And sometimes you mentioned, I have this goal out there, whether it's to go to Africa or I see a vision of this community, how I want it. Sometimes you don't know how, but you're holding, the what so strongly. This is what I want. I can see it. I can vision it. And sometimes you can't figure out the how. I know that where I am today, I could have not mapped that all out in the beginning. There was not a clear path of how. But I knew the end result. I knew what I wanted it to look like, feel like. I knew what the difference it was. And I took a next step that was in front of me, and I take that one, and then it's the next step. And when you're always holding that vision and you make a choice towards that vision, and that's what commitment is to me, because commitment is not, I have it all figured out and know how.
Yeah.
A lot of things.
Yeah. The song we're going to play Traveler at the end of our conversation here. It's from the Walkabout Band. And I just love the song, all of it, the music, all of it, and the lyrics. There's a line, I'm the traveler, I write my name in the sand. And that line to me means so much because your name, that you're committed to your name, right? You can change your name. Anybody can change their name if they want to, and I have friends who do it. I'm changing my name. I want to be this, fine, do it. But you write your name in the sand. It goes with that. I'm writing it down. But it's the same thing as when you go into a community as a traveler, and then, the water's going to come and wipe that away. But you have that commitment of your name, of who you are, and everything's going to change all the time. But you still have that commitment of who you are as a core individual. And when you travel, And you really don't have, like, we have a home base in Yuma, the Coronado Motor Hotel. Thank you over there, John and Yvonne Peach. But there's sometimes you really have to have it. It's the core. It is who you are. That if you have that, you can sustain all changes. And communities go through change all the time. It could be some huge corporation moves in and changes. Like, what happens if Amazon moves into your city suddenly? Everything's going to change. And so you have to remember that integrity, that sense of place, to be able to hold on to your commitment, I think. And that is, you have a commitment to your life of how you're going to live it. And when a community comes together, it's about how are we going to do this together. And I think that's so important. It's so easy to miss community meetings and, not be involved in what's going on in the city. So easy. They happen all the time. But I think that our sense of duty of having a community is that we need to go to those things. We need to figure out how we're going to fix potholes. And we haven't touched the tourism part at all, but don't we need to actually make a commitment to ourselves being part of the community before we can even start saying things? You know what I mean? We need to be part of it.
Yeah, it needs to be know what's going on there, because if you don't know and come in, hey, it should be this way, but really getting to know it and hold a vision for it and play your part and listen. There's a lot about listening that you learn.
Yeah, I agree. Now, let's do an overview of the 8 keys of excellence, because we just jumped in. I'm all excited about the commitment word. I'm in it.
I know. You're doing it.
I know. It's crazy. And you're sending us on 2 missions. No one else is allowed to send us on 2 missions on the tour because we can't. It's like, no, but Bobbi gets to have 2. She's the queen. But let's do an overview of the 8 keys before what we if you give everybody an overview what the 8 keys of excellence are, and then we'll do each key. You talk about the individual key of excellence, and then I'll do the community key of excellence. But just start with an overview.
Yes. The first is integrity, match behavior with values.
Okay. And so when it comes to a community, we look at it saying integrity, provide a sense of place, define your community identity, and showcase its positive values.
Failure leads to success. Learn from mistakes.
See, we say failure leads to success. Make lemonade.
Yes, it's
like
always
school,
out
right?
there, It's like, what do I need to do to make it all work? And the next is speak with good purpose, speak honestly and kindly.
Say, speak with good purpose. Be positive. Keep your community story and all communications positive.
This makes such a difference. It's so powerful. And the next is this is it. Make the most of every moment.
In tourism land and community, we say this is it. Attention to detail. Stay focused and tuned into your community and visitor needs.
Commitment we're talking about. Make your dreams happen.
Well, commitment is make your community vision happen. Take consistent, positive action to maintain your community identity and fulfill its vision. And
it will happen.
It's true.
And then next is ownership. Take responsibility for actions.
Say ownership, be part of the solution. See, that's what I was talking about. Take ownership of your community with positive and responsible actions. I like these, Bobbi.
Yes, they fit. And the next is flexibility, and we know that one is useful. It's being willing to do things differently.
And that's exactly what we say on the tourism side, too. Flexibility, be willing to do things differently, recognize what's not working, and be willing to change your plan of action to achieve your community goals and vision.
And balance, live your best life.
And when it comes to community and tourism, we say balance, build a sustainable and responsible community. Consider everything that's meaningful and important to your community and steadily grow that vision. I see the consistency thing and steadiness is, so this is something when you think of excellence, that's part of it, right? Excellence is, it's not stop start. It's continuous. It's the flow.
It is, and it's and as an individual, it's the core inside you. It represents who you are, what you stand for, and that just translates for community because it's the core of the community, what the community stands for. And when it's held really strong, people that are coming through will notice that and take notice of that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've told you before, I ran into somebody who got involved in one of our activities, and I say, oh, you know, you must be a parent or some involved. And they said, no, we're a tourist. We came through, but we liked what we were feeling. We liked
Mm-hmm.
the interaction. We liked how people were talking to each other. We liked that there was a focus on youth, and you were celebrating them. So there was a lot to like about, you know, they just said, we just feel good. We want to come here because it feels good to be here.
Mm.
That's because it's positive,
Mhm.
and it's like a yes, we can. I
Mhm.
would think back to when I was a kid with that little train cartoon,
Tommy
the little
the
train that
little
kept
train
going.
that
I
can.
think I can. I think I
Yeah.
can. I know I can. I know I can. You know, it's that as opposed to no, you can't. No, you
Mm.
can't do this, and no, you can't do that. You know, because we have a lot of that in life where you're told you can't do something. So when you get to a place, I love it when we go into towns and cities, and it's welcoming at both ends of town. You know, where as you drive in, you feel good because somehow they've managed to say, "Hey, come on down.
Mhm.
This can be fun."
Mhm. Yeah. Exactly. I think that's it. You know, it is. I like the come on down. It is about. It is
Yeah,
about
it's
being
welcoming.
open, welcoming. It's quality of
It's
life.
positive. It's welcoming. We're going to put our best foot forward. We're going to make sure you have a good time.
Mhm. It's yeah. I mean, it's like your family, right? And
Mhm.
that's it. That's how we should be connecting. So community is your immediate community. Could be your family, your school, your work, your downtown, surrounding areas, and then your community is also the people that come in, right? Isn't that the same thing? I
Mhm.
mean, I look at what, you know, Nancy and I came to visit QLN at your Quantum Learning Conference Center and been to the program. Suddenly, we're in a community then. So community, that word community is quite an interesting word because it shifts a lot.
Well, there's a basic concept, context around what it is. And when you build, like you say, of positivity, you know, of people supporting each other, that you're interacting with each other, you know, that's the context. And so that stays consistent. And then when people come in, it's like, oh, I want to be part of that context. Now, there can be different personality, there can be different interests, that it can embrace all of that. But there's a basic, you know, unspoken rules. It's kind of like it just permeates through and is
Mm.
consistent on what do you want it to represent.
Mm. When it comes to a community coming in, they find out, okay, this is our vision. This is our community vision. You know, what kind of tourism destination we want to be. Do we want to be one? You know, all of those things. So there's that communication and creating that vision. And so when we talk about commitment, you know, we always look at goals, and there's always that thing of like, well, when do I want to achieve this by? And there's that thing of maybe if you don't put the thing like a deadline on it, that it may not happen. I know Nancy and I live in the world of deadlines, and I have a love-hate relationship with them, and I don't know if I could ever really be a person without the deadlines because it just is this structure that creates consistency in my life. It creates that balance and that flow. And if you leave everything to the last minute, you're gonna be in a world of hurt, you know. So to me, there's that deadline that should be there. There should be like, this is going to happen by this time. Would that be the same for a community when they create a vision? That commitment to that goal, that vision, needs to have some kind of timeline on it.
Well, it is what the next step is going to be. And I think with community, there's deadlines or just stated dates out there when we're going to do things by. But there's a fluidity as well. It's that happens. So both things being true at the same time of deadline commitment and the fluidity and happening, and that it's okay is when you have that strong, solid base. You know who you are, and you're committed to know who you are, and you're
Mm.
taking a next step towards. So
Mm.
next step.
I think when you embrace a deadline or create a deadline, that is the proof of your commitment.
Mhm. Mm.
Like, it's like, I'm going to do this, but if you never say when or how or why, then the commitment doesn't feel as real as I'm going to do this by this date,
Mm.
and this is how I'm going to do it. Now, you might change how you're going to do it when you run into things, you know,
Mm.
failure leads to success, where you have to change a little.
And flexibility.
Yeah,
Yep.
you have to look at that. But when you start out and you make a commitment, if you give it a deadline, then it seems more real than a commitment that doesn't have a deadline.
Mm.
Makes
That's
it more
interesting.
specific that you know what you're doing.
Mm.
Kind of a scorecard. How are we doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a reference point.
You got to
Mm.
have the list, man. I like to check things off my list. I'm terrible that way. Well, it's about this writing things
It's
down.
keeping track.
What happens? Okay, so I know this could be where the flexibility key comes in, but communities come together and like, this is our vision. This is what we're going to do, and we're going to do it by this date. And then somebody walks in. I'm new to town, and I have this brilliant idea, and it's kind of in alignment with theirs, but it's not the same thing. And they're like, well, we've already been committed to this, so that's that. Where is that? Do you know what I mean, Bobbi? There's someone that may have, and it may be something brilliant. Where does that balance come in where you can accept new things? Because sometimes a commitment can run stale, even if people take too long to do it, because that can happen. Our world is changing so fast that by the time all the meetings get done, it's past. The time has passed. And I see that happening a lot in organizations, that it just takes the meetings take up too much time. Yet I understand they're valuable and the conversation is valuable, but if the conversation never takes to action, things go away, and then you're too late.
I think the key is really listening on both sides. Listening, that you really understand each other, because we have community meetings here, and we've had somebody that will come to the first meeting. Oh, I'm new. I'm here. Oh, we should do this. Oh, I want to, take responsibility for this, but they don't know the background or, and so it's both things being true. Yes, there's some good ideas of, hey, we really need to get going in that direction, and a newbie, you're, pointing this that way and pointing it out, and the other is, really understand the culture and what the vision is and where it's headed. There's kind of a rhythm that goes, and you can disrupt it, but there's times when it's just appropriate to, hey, understand who they really are, rather than pop in, I'm going to change things, and they aren't listening, so I'll leave. That happens a lot.
Well,
that's
and that's
true.
But that's not, for me, that would not be a true commitment, because that's I'm going to come in and regulate and officiate and be known as a changer and a mover. That the real commitment has to come with a level, for me, of understanding and compassion and empathy for the place that you are. Before
And understanding what your own personal investment is in that. And is it to really help the whole? Is it for personal recognition and further my own agenda? It's like, what
integrity
is it that it's doing? I know that you had mentioned, that 60 Minutes and the show on Tesla, and the head of it. Now, he has a lot of controversy in a lot of different areas, but one of the things he said that really stood out for me is, he's committed to having cars that are more environmentally friendly, and he's gone to great lengths for that. And somebody said, well, what if another company and they outpack you? And he just said, well, that's great. My purpose is that the cars are economically friendly. And my purpose was not that I make a lot of money, and I'm, it was like having that purpose that really hit home.
Because it's open source. Anyone can go in and get his plans. And Nancy and I both sat there. We're like, that's cool, you know.
Yeah.
And you also know that this he's got a brilliant mind, and it doesn't mean you're going to be brilliant in all areas that everybody wants you to be. You can't be all things to everybody. You can't.
No.
And that's unrealistic. But he's definitely made huge strides in things and tried to do as much as he can environmentally. And I thought that was really true what you were saying about him. One thing too on that show on the 60 Minutes last night was the segment on what is happening to teens and preteens' brains in regards to how much screen time. Have you seen changes, you know, over the years in regards to now suddenly kids having phones? I mean, I remember when I was in school, we weren't even allowed to have a calculator until we had to do trigonometry, and then I was like, dude, I don't want a calculator now. I'm running for the hills, you know. But it's changed so much, and I wonder about that. I mean, I remember you were only allowed so many hours of TV time, and it was only like on weekends with your friends kind of thing. We didn't even have that much TV time in South Africa at that point, you know. So I wonder, what have you seen over the years?
Well, that's like fast and instant, you know, and to have access to everything at one time. So I really try to understand. It's like, what am I not seeing because I'm not raised in that generation that always had it, you know? And so I'm really interested in the study about what more specifically they're finding that they think and react differently. But it feels like, you know, at our program we take the devices away during the camp, and so that they really learn to talk to each other, see each other, look each other in the eyes. They're expressing themselves verbally, which a lot of students, you know, they text a certain way, and it's not what written out sentence normally would be. And so just the writing skills and the speaking skills, you know, need attention because, you know, they're not getting as much of that. So it's really, you know, the Wild West out there with it.
Go ahead, Nancy.
I was just going to say there's a difference between reality and what you watch with a screen, which is a interceptor to reality. It's going to project to you or try to bring to you reality, but you're not there. So you can watch a nature program on the television, but you can't touch the animal or feel the breeze or climb up the mountain or walk around the path. You're watching somebody else present something to you on a square screen. So there's a disconnect. Even though it's educational and it's a great learning tool, it isn't the same thing. Like if you see a dog on the television, it is not the same as petting a real dog. So I find it as an interceptor to reality. It's a learning tool. I try to think of it as a go find out for yourself more kind of thing. Like I can watch a program on India and go, wow, I like that, or I don't like that, or oh, that's scary, or it's great. But it is not in any way, shape, or form the same as going to India.
It's dead. It's like
no,
dead.
Not dead. It's to pique your interest.
But, yeah, there's a pique your interest, but there's something weirdly like when you look at everything that's happening in regards to video games and everything. So like there's bang bang shoot shoot. There is this numbness, this dead energy to it. Even though there's an energy, there is this numbness that no one has. This sensitivity's gone. Like you don't smell the streets of India if you're going to go to India. But on a gun, do you know the gun? Do you know what it's like to have a gun in your face? And when you look at it, a TV thing, you just go bang, bang, bang on these little games. That's bang, bang, bang. Not the same as holding a gun in your hand and realizing the impact of it if you're not trained. So that's what scares me about the whole thing in the end of the day, is when you talk about reality versus this weird zone that I find it weird.
One is entertainment, the other is reality.
Isn't Bobbi? I mean, with the other part is there's that. It's weird because it's not real, but it
There,
is.
it's a huge paradigm shift of
Mm.
what's going on. It's huge.
Mm.
So I go down the path of not reality. They don't know, the same
Mm.
relationship skills, how to relate to
Mm.
others. Thinking patterns are different. All of that is very in a strange, unrelatable kind of phenomenon. And then the
Mm.
other is looking at the future, the world,
Mm.
the digital. It's like, what is the future? What is
Mm.
going to be happening that I think is absolutely completely impossible? In fact, I can't even imagine. And they need to interact in a world that's comfortable with that unknown. And I've heard it talked about that some of that gaming and such they do, that
Mm.
when they fear less or risk, it's like, okay, how do you go out into a future that is unknown
Mm.
in a way that we've never had before, that it's that out there in such a short period of time. So just trying to take it all in and watch and do what we can, because we write quite a few articles too on the
Mm.
impact of
Mhm.
digital and where it's shutting down, kids' emotions and and
Yeah.
that they're not able to relate or write or communicate in ways
Mm.
that we have in the past. So what's the impact of that, and where are we going in the future? And
Exactly.
are they going to be ready for it?
Exactly. That's it too. I mean, what are we setting up our youth for? So I want to bring this to the world of commitment, that key of excellence. There's about 3-4 things running through in my mind on this, in regards to digital and all of that. One is, let's go to the community coming together. Number one, what is your vision? Are you setting up more selfie spots because that's good for your Instagram feed? Or are you looking long-term vision, that you have places where families can have picnics, where they can actually walk, have a safe environment? Which way are you going to go? Or are you going to do both? So there's those kinds of things to look at as well. Where are you going to go in the digital world in your community? How far are you going to take it? There's communities looking at, oh, we need Wi-Fi downtown. Great. That can be good too. There's certain things you can do that are necessary infrastructure-wise, but are your activities going to be such that give people the necessary break that eventually everyone's going to need no matter what? You're going to break down to it because your body cannot take it that much longer. It's, to me, we're starting to walk around. It's like being in a casino nonstop. It's like ding, 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 ding everywhere you go. Go in a grocery store, ding, 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 ding. Cell phones are ding, ding, ding. You can hear everyone's conversation now in the street. They're not looking when they're driving. They're texting. It's still happening. So there's all these repercussions when it comes to the tourism world. And then, are you going to actually experience the experience? Are you going to even be present in the meeting, or are you texting someone back while you're in a meeting? Did you even hear the meeting? So why are you there if you're going to be continuing on with the texting and carrying on? So that's where I'm at, Bobbi. The commitment is, how about just let's look at how we spend our time and have a commitment to that we're actually present.
And then, just even the word community, it does bring
Mm.
up visions of
Mm.
people interacting with each other.
Right.
That it brings up visions of what is the nature and places to be and interact. That's what seems synonymous with the word community.
Mhm. Yeah, you're going to have a community park, and then you're all going to sit down at a picnic and text each other. Because that's what it's looking like. Every time I turn around, that's what it looks like. You're going to go on a walk.
Are we going to get to the point where we don't physically talk to each other unless there's some kind of screen in between?
And are you only doing it for a like?
I just so don't care about that.
So I'm just saying, when you think,
I have to
what
say,
is your?
I just so don't
No,
care. I
Nancy,
so
no.
don't care about that. I'm one of those weird ones.
I'm going to be your mother right now and speak with good purpose, Nancy.
I just so
Well,
don't care.
when students have a reflection time and they're asked questions, I'm finding, that they do come up with like sometimes saying, nobody ever asked me before,
Mm-hmm.
or what do you like? What are you interested in? What do you want to be in the world? What are your, you know, are envisioning for yourself? What are your dreams? What do you think is impossible for you? So
Right.
you shut down rather than saying, I could go for it. And when you have and you really listen and you create the opportunities to hear and ask questions, that's where we're finding the inspiration comes from is, wow, nobody ever asked me. And, oh, I'm supposed to, really have those as goals, or this is, the commitment is doing whatever it takes and seeing what you want. Sometimes in school, if I feel like I'm failing, if I don't fit in, if I don't belong, that I could feel like, oh, this is too hard. This is, it's no fun. I'm just doing homework and tests. But then when I think, what do I really want? Oh, I want to graduate, because when I graduate, this is what I want to do next. And it's like when you think and put your focus on that bigger goal and commitment, okay, I'm committed, so these are steps and things I'm going to do, because not that I want to do that, but I want the end result. So I
Mhm.
see the work and things I have to put in ahead and really inspire them to be committed and view that bigger vision and goal that they have. And I think, with adults in the community coming together to listen and start conversations, with our youth
Mhm.
and really listen to them, and the community really has that opportunity to just, step out and connect. Don't just hide behind your doors, because,
Right.
I find that students really react to that, and it's like, wow, somebody's interested. So, wow,
The,
somebody's listening.
every community plan should have kids involved. The
Oh,
youth
for
should
sure.
have a role in it.
I
Mhm.
just want to say something. When I went through school and you go and you take your test, when the paper came back, yes, I wanted to know the grade and I was hoping for a good one. But what used to really get me is when the teacher took the time, they put the grade on there and then they would explain why you got that grade. You would have been better if you had done this, or that's not really what I asked, but good try, or whatever the comment was. When the teacher graded the test or the essay or whatever, when they made a comment, that used to strike home to me as opposed to here's your grade. And
It was
and I
meaningful,
guess
something you could learn from.
yeah, it explains something it's okay, I need to improve it there, or cool.
But it's
They got
someone
my
took time out
point
for
or
you
whatever.
too. Someone took time
And
out.
I think that's why the like unlike thing to me is like whatever.
Yeah, that's the whole thing on social media. It's like, love,
No,
talk, try and have a conversation.
yeah.
And there's only so much you can do in a time of day. But there is that community, and social media there's a huge amount of positivity that comes off of it.
Oh yeah.
It's huge. Um, so there's a lot of good things in there, but I think it does come back to that dialogue, and whatever you're doing,
Mhm.
be present. Bobby, I
Mhm.
remember you talking about this on numerous shows about the multitasking doesn't work. Your brain doesn't work that way. And learning how your brain works so that you can work with your brain to be more effective. And I do a lot of multitasking when we're on shows, and that's just kind of how my job rolls with it. But when I'm in a project, I was doing some audiovisual work the other day and doing this little production, and my brain went into the little vortex that, honestly, Bobby, I hate to say this on the air, but it's true. I was so into it that I swear I was drooling. Like, when you're
I know.
Do you know what I
That's
mean? Where you're
funny.
just so absorbed,
Yeah.
and that absorption feels so good. You cannot buy that. Nothing gives you that sense of pride and joy, and it's such joy
So
to be so.
dedication.
Yeah, I'm like that. With a lot of different things, you're in that. That's it in the moment. This is it in the moment, right?
Mhm.
But you're in it, and you're really in it. And if someone just handed you that experience and said, "Oh, you don't need to go through that work," and you just made the beautiful production without all this the drooling part of it, I don't think I would enjoy that. I would have no sense of worth, no pride, no nothing of that. I want to put that extra work and those exams and that sweat and blood in there. You want to do that. There's something in
You've
it
got to
that
be invested.
you're invested, and if you don't invest something in, it just feels empty to me. You know?
Yeah.
And
when you
gives
look
that satisfaction. It's
when you
fulfilling.
look at a group
It's
of
satisfaction.
when you look at a group of people who come together to try and help their community do a better thing, some communities have food banks and they're into that. Some communities are doing murals, some communities, I mean, there's all sorts of factions, and there's a place for everyone who has a sense of love, pride, wanting to belong to a community. Because I mean, people, we're not loners. Most of us. Some of us are, but most of us are. Just going back to nature, we belong to a group, and we're trying to better things.
It's part of our hierarchy of needs.
Yeah, exactly. This is so exciting. I'm just excited. I'm so super excited about our Love Your Parks tour and the fact that we're committed to these story missions. And so, Bobbi, you're sending us on 2. So one is you want us to document and share stories about the youth. So you want us to find, stories, what are youth doing, what are communities doing for their youth, and stories of excellence. And I have things up my sleeve. You'll see them soon. We're already it's already happening, man. We're into this. We're into this, and we're very excited. And I think there's just something to that where people get to see stories of other communities and the importance of youth being part of a community. I just want to say this. We were chatting with Victoria Chick, artist Victoria Chick today. She sent us on a mission. We have to go and document. She wants every single nonprofit art entity in the country. Excuse us.
Small task.
I know it's really exciting. She wants us, public art and art education programs and things. And she said today, which I thought you'd find interesting, she said that in Silver City, New Mexico, where she is, they don't have graffiti problems because the youth are part of the mural projects of the downtown.
I love that.
So the kids are part of that.
Wow.
So they've got that active participation. And she said other communities have murals and they have these artists come in from all over. However, you're going to find something. And so that I know that goes to the ownership part, but I'm just going into part of a community's commitment to improving your community is making sure that the youth are part of that commitment. You have to improve your community. The youth need to have their role. And that is one of the simplest things is to have them be part of the mural project, right? Something like that. Just as easy as that.
Well, they take pride in it and own it.
The ownership key. It's coming.
Well, they're part of part of something. A community means being part of something.
I love it. It's so cool. Well, Bobbi, I want to say this because about 2 years ago, we did a segment on the commitment key of excellence and the Parks and Travel magazine, and it's up. Everyone, you can go see this on nationalparktraveling.com. Just type in commitment, and we did one on commitment key of excellence for conservation because we were looking at the 100th year of the centennial of the national park system, and we were looking at who started all this. And it just goes back to with what we're doing with the tour and the commitment. Theodore Roosevelt said, "Of all the questions which can come before this nation, short of the actual preservation of its existence in a great war, there is none which compares in importance with the great central task of leaving this land even a better land for our descendants than it is for us." And I think that's the absolute truth.
Yes, absolutely.
If I wasn't a baby about tattoos, I'd have that on my body. But I'll stick with the commitment band of excellence. Thank you. There's no way I'm ever getting a tattoo.
That.
Not happening. Not happening. But to me, that is that quote of we have to take community and make a commitment to our youth. And that, to me, is what commitment's about.
Yes.
For the youth. It's that. Well, thank you for joining us again for another 8 Keys of Excellence show in tourism excellence. It's always fun having you on.
It was fun being on. Thanks so much.
Yeah, and everyone, supercamp.com. Go check it out. Go there. It is time. You know what? Spring, summer's coming around. How people should be looking now, for
Yep.
what's going to happen with your teens or your preteens and where they can go because they get to go stay on a college campus. Is it 7 days? And they can
We have
stay longer.
7-day and 10-day programs. Uh-huh.
Wow. So
Cool.
you have that opportunity. So supercamp.com is a place to go for that. And also the 8 keys of excellence. Bobbi, it's 50 million we need, right? And where are we? How many people do we need to send to you as we travel?
I know. We're getting close to the 30 million, so the more awareness the better.
Awesome.
It's a free program for families, everyone. So 8keys.org, an awesome program for schools. So schools, be warned, as we're coming across the country, we're coming to see you because Nancy says I still need to take trigonometry too.
Okay, I'll be honest.
Yeah,
I bailed on it.
8keys.org. Also, Nancy's got a great article about the commitment key of excellence when it comes to community vision and responsible tourism coming up in the January through March issue of Parks and Travel magazine. So the best thing to do is go to nationalparktraveling.com. You'll see the other stories of excellence in regards to community building and tourism there too. But also sign up for the newsletter. You'll get that in your email as soon as the magazine comes out. And Bobbi, here's our song, Traveler. It's all about writing the name in the sand.
Great. Thank you.
Here it is. Thank you, everybody. This is from the Walkabout. We love them. Check out walkaboutband.com. You can also hear their latest interview with us if you go to blendradioandtv.com. Here's Traveler. Take care, Bobbi. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.